Hey there, are you like to play some Gambit solo? Then this build is definitely for you, Guardian. Especially if you're Titan, because this build got it all. It got stacking Primeval damage, it got on-demand damage buffs for your invasion, and it got that nice survivability to just farm those little ads away. All in just one versatile Spartan Invader Titan build here at Mom's Basement. So let's go over the build with my cheat sheet approach. Ladies and gentlemen, if you know my latest builds, okay, Jay knows them. Please look at that mods area, okay? How big that is, And I kid you not, every mod in this build has a specific functionality. And some of the mods, some of the synergies you might know, but I think I put something together that is so well thought through, that is so detailed, so fancy, so too Titan basically. When it's finished, you will watch it in awe and say, damn it, DirtyHotte is in a class of his own regarding builds. And with that, let's go. I think we start over with the subclass for this one. And we're gonna run Sunbreaker Devastator. I do that quick, okay? I will go over the skills quickly, over the abilities. So we have Throwing Hammer, that's basically range melee. Okay, range melee. It's important. It's not important, but it's nice to have. Then we have Roaring Flames. That's plus damage. That's plus damage for that melee. That nobody can read that. We have to write that again. That can stack up to 3 times. And then we have Tireless Warrior, which are basically heals. I want to give you a quick heads up here, okay? Tireless Warrior was patched in the past, so it has an internal cooldown now. So you can't throw your hammer at the same boss all of the time and receive the heals while picking up. That's an internal cooldown. But guess what, ladies and gentlemen? We're gonna fix that. We're gonna fix that problem with that build, but I don't want to tell you too much too soon. Let's start with the mods, or let's start with the first half of the mods. And what are we gonna run? We're gonna run Melee Wellmaker. I guess that's pretty straightforward. If you hammer somebody with your throwing hammer, with your melee, you will spawn solar whales. And I mean, it's clear, we use those solar whales. That's why we're gonna use Elemental Charge. Elemental Charge, basically if you pick up the well, you become charged with light. But you don't get 1 times charged with light. It's for every well you pick up, it's 2 charged with light stacks, basically, not only 1. Okay, here we go. That's the first. Let's hit the next button. We want to run supercharged. So with supercharged, you can basically have 4 stacks of charged with light, and with elemental charge, that's just 2 melee kills. Yes, there's an internal cooldown, I know. Then maybe it's 3 or 4 melee kills. You can get that pretty quickly. Okay, and then we have a nice little addition. You get the idea. We are focusing heavy on the melee here, but there is more to that. So we have Thermoclastic Booming. So what does Thermoclastic Booming do? So whenever you have a melee kill, it spawns an orb of light. You know, those things when you pick it up and you have the right mod, you become charged with light. But wait for it. Recuperation, okay? What does recuperation do? Attention please, recuperation, when you pick up, okay? When you pick up an orb of light, you instantly get healed for about 50% of your health. So those 2 little guys basically plus healing. Plus healing. Those 2 basically heal you, okay? I told you before, Tireless Warrior has an internal cooldown now, and we fixed that problem with the combination of Thermoclastic Booming and Recuperation. Another side information about recuperation that's important, because to use recuperation you have to use solar legs. So keep that in mind when you make that build. Then, now with all the charge with light stacks, here comes Protective Light, one of the strongest defensive charged with light mods you can get. So basically when your shield breaks, you get higher resistance. What should we call that, ladies and gentlemen? I would call that's our oh shit. That's our oh shit mod. It's our oh shit mod. So basically now we have half the mods down. And if you pay attention, you should already know, okay, there's one space left, Dirty. There's one space left for Charged with Light or for Whale Maker, for Whale, Elemental Whale mod. There's one slot left, and we come to that in just a second. Let's talk about something different first. We will talk about all those mods in just a second, but first I want to go over the weapons, because then everything starts to make sense, okay? Let's start with the heavy. Use whatever you want. I would say autoloading is a plus for that build, okay? Autoloading is a plus, but use whatever you want. Whatever you feel comfortable with. You won't use your heavy that much. In your energy slot, you want to run a shotgun and run whatever you want, okay? But it has to be a 1-2 punch shotgun, okay? Let's start with that 1-2 punch, okay? That goes directly all the way over there to your melee, okay? Because 1-2 punch adds damage to your melee. We will talk about that a little bit later. Keep in mind, Roaring Flames, 1-2 punch, and we build further on that. Let's talk about the kinetic. Remember, we have one Charged with Light mod slot or combat mod slot open, and here we come. Here it comes. Forerunner in the kinetic slot. We are using Forerunner, and we used the Forerunner for invading. That's really fun. And now let's talk about the last Charged with Light mod, okay? Surprise attack, and we definitely need the red chalk for that. Surprise attack. What surprise attack does, okay? With this build, surprise attack gives you an on demand, okay? That's on demand. Plus 35% damage to your Forerunner or to any sidearm. But Forerunner is basically like an energy scout, or like a kinetic scout rifle with crazy damage. I prepared a clip, ladies and gentlemen, where I show you exactly what I mean with Forerunner on-demand damage while it's standing, okay? Charged with Light times 4. That's why we use surprise attack. That's why I said it's damage on demand. Every other heavy energy fire and stuff like that, you become Charged with Light and then you automatically have to use it. But with this build, you have the 4 stacks. Basically, when the shit hits the fan, you have protective light. But when not, you can buff your sidearm on demand. Let's see how that looks, okay? Let's see how that looks. So basically, yeah, Dirty is a good old Gambit player. So Dirty is basically depositing his motes. He has 5 for a small blocker, and he deposits them before he invades. And now let's see what we're gonna do. Okay, so the portal is ready. The portal is ready. Dirty's going over there. Okay, and as soon as I'm over there, I switch the weapon to Forerunner. So you can see that. Now keep in mind, sometimes you won't see the buff over here. If you have too many buffs running, you won't see the charged magazine buff, because Destiny can only show 3 buffs, I think. So now we've gone over there, we switched the weapon and directly used our 4 stacks to improve the damage of the Forerunner gun. And I think, are you interested what happens next? Because I am. So let's go and see what happens next with the charged magazine for the Forerunner. And look at the range. I mean, it was already pretty nice, okay? And keep in mind, this build with Gambit gets stronger the higher your light level is. Yeah, there are 2 left, I think. Let's see. He's a bit far away. But let's kill him. Okay, now on a serious note, I fucked up a little, but whatever, because he's pretty far away, so I switched to the rocket launcher, which I hadn't loaded. Stuff like that happens, but let me just reload because he's too far out for his gun and finish him off. Yeah, army of 1. And here we go. That's where does DirtyHotte stream from? Mom's Basement. That's basically the first question with answer for our raffle in February. I hope you get the idea how good it is to have this on-demand damage buff for Gambit with the Forerunner. Let's talk a little bit more about the rest of the mods. We will use I'm not done yet, basically. Jay, we talked about invading and counter invading. Concussive dampener. Concussive dampener is pretty nice because the Primeval will definitely stomp you hard as a Titan, and that one just adds to your survivability, especially in combination with protective light. That ammo finders. Sidearm ammo finder is only 1 energy. Shotgun finder from the seasonal artifact is also only 1 energy, so grab those 2. Ammo finder. Shotgun reserves, because why not? And then a melee kickstart. I'm not sure if melee kickstart is really beneficial for the build. Sometimes you might throw your hammer like out in the open, and that's when a melee kickstart comes in handy for that cooldown energy you get when you use your melee. That comes with a downside, because then you have to use stasis arms. Yes, I will remove the Cryons in just a second. Okay. And then I also run distribution, okay? Also for those situations when you throw your hammer wide in the open, that's when I use distribution to throw down my barrier and get some melee energy back. So let's talk about the exotic, okay? And we're gonna run Synthoceps with that. And I think Jay is already like, oh my god, it will be nasty. And it will. It definitely will. Because Synthoceps gives you biotic enhancements, okay? Surrounded by 3+ enemy adds damage. And we're playing Gambit, okay? We're playing Gambit. There will be a lot of enemies surrounding you at all times. So Synthoceps basically goes into the same direction like 1-2 punch. It's plus melee damage. Yeah, you can imagine what that does to Primevals. Let's talk about stats. It's a melee focus build. That's why I would focus on strength first. So get 100 there. And then priority, I'd say that isn't important. This one is kind of important. This one is also important. This one and this one. So discipline and intellect, not so much. You might have seen it, okay? You might have seen it. You might have seen this here. That frame, I called it damage stacking. I called it damage stacking. Now let's go back to the throwing hammer, okay? The ranged melee and roaring flames. So the first damage stack is roaring flames times 3. Roaring flames times 3. Let me get that to you. Roaring flames times 3 actually adds 2.2 times, so 220%, not 2%, it's 2.2 times of the damage to our throwing hammer. And then we have the next one. We have biotic enhancements. This adds. We can basically let me just remove that. Let me just remove that, okay? 2.2 damage multiplied with biotic enhancement. Biotic enhancement is 3 times the damage. I love it already. And then we have the 1-2 punch shotgun. And if everything goes to plan, that's another 3 times the damage. And that equals about 20 times. That's 20 times the damage your melee ability normally does. 20 times the damage. So you melt that Primeval if everything goes correct. Most of the time I die. But that's it. So if you run Gambit solo, I think that's the most versatile build you will find out there right now. Because you can invade, because you have the damage buff on demand. The Forerunner range is actually crazy. You have Primeval damage like nobody else. And all of that combined with your recuperation, protective light, and tireless warrior. You also get the heals and the survivability to just farm those ads away. If you enjoyed that cheat sheet, please make sure to leave a like, hit the bell, and consider to subscribe to Mom's Basement. And stop by at twitch.tv/DirtyHotte. Cheat sheet as always in the description and in the comments. And now I think it's time for some Gambit Chiseler.
Look at you go in front of me, Spartan.
I mean, he's looking great. I mean, you're basically one-hitting everything.
Coming from beach. There he is.
Not the first one?
Got him. You got him.
Got two?
10 seconds and I pull you back. One more in the green.
Three?
Bringing you back. Good.
I mean, as you see, that worked pretty nice.